All right. So there are a few other things that will need to get covered before you should be able to do your, I think it's the last assignment. One of which is forms. So forms is something that I actually should have gone through from earlier on when we were doing HTML. But I decided to skip it temporarily because I think forms make more sense when you're doing JavaScript. So at the time, I hadn't been doing any JavaScript. And I was saying that in order for me to teach it properly, it would be better if I went through forms and JavaScript at the same time. So I'm going to go through some forms now and show you how you can use your forms and capture the data from your forms using JavaScript. So one sec. Opening folder. We're likely in week 12 now, eh? Okay. So as usual, we need our index.html. And we'll also need a script.js. So I'll get those two things done now. New file. Script.js. And I will link my HTML to my script. Or link the script to the HTML. All right. Okay. So I'll start out by creating what time is a screen not sharing. Onto the projector. Detected. All right, give me a sec. Oh, no, pick it up. Something happened. What about VG? Okay. By the way, when I say forms, you guys know what I mean by forms? Have any idea what I mean when I say form? No? Okay. So when I say form, what I'm talking about is something like, what site can I pull up now? Let's pull up the SOCS site. Not this one. ECC. You know, I don't remember the site out of my head. Cars. Not even this one. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Applied. So this right here, this is a form. A form is just a page or a part of a page that accepts user input, whether by using text or drop-down lists or checkboxes or radio buttons, right? So you fill out the information and you click on next step, or if it was a registration form, you click on submit or register. If it was a login form, you click login. Yeah? Make sense? Yeah? So we're going to be looking at creating forms that look similar to this. So we would have gone through something already, right? Inputs. I've shown you how to create a text input. So let's build on that. Let me see. So I'll create a div, give it a class of container. And inside my container, I'll create a form. So my form, when I type form, you see that it gives me an attribute for form called action. For now, we will leave that action blank. And I believe, let me see. The action is usually what is going to take place when the form is submitted. So typically you would specify some procedure or some function that's supposed to run, or some action that's supposed to take place once the form is submitted. But we're going to leave it blank for now because we don't want the form to handle its own submission for us. We want to do it manually. I'll be showing you why we want to be doing it manually. So inside the form, you can start off by doing what we've normally been doing, where you create your labels and your inputs. So an example form that we could do is like a registration. So let's say, for instance, you want to have a user sign up for your website. Give me a few things that you normally ask for when you have a user sign up for a site. Email. So let me create a label. And let me see, form email. So I gave my label an attribute of 4, and it is form email. So that means I'm going to have to create an input that has an ID of form email. So I'll give this a label of email. And let's just take a look at what that looks like so far. Okay, so we have email. All right, give me something else. What else do we need from the user? So we need their name. We want to capture first name different from last name. Okay, so I'm going to say first. Oh wait, no, let me do a label. Let me do the input first. Input. So form name, and take note of the way I'm creating my IDs. That my IDs need to be relevant. As a matter of fact, I don't even want this to be form. I want this to be register. Make it more relevant. So instead of calling it form, call it register name and register email. Because it could be entirely possible for you to have a different web page that takes user input. And if you're going to take their that takes login information. And if you wanted to take login information, you wouldn't want to name the ID of that input form email as well. You'd probably call it login email. So I'll call this one register email. Okay. So create another label. This one is a register email. And I'm going to, sorry, not register email, register name. Register F name. Since this one is for first name, right? So let's say first name. Let me just copy this and do it again for last name. And give this an ID of register L name. Okay, so I'll register first name, register last name. Do I need this BR here since it's inline? It looks a bit untidy, but I would like to have the first name and the last name next to each other. What else can we get from the user? Let's put another one here. What about their phone number? Do we need their phone number? Okay, so I have the phone number. And you will notice a few things depending on how you've written your code. The browser can usually infer based on the code that you've written. I think it's based on the ID, or it might be based on the label. I think it's the ID, to be honest. So without me having to do anything in the code, I can have the browser automatically infer what needs to be auto-completed. So here, if you notice, it says my name, Philip, and my email address is also being auto-suggested. And that's based on the code that we've written here. So the browser sees that the ID, I think it's the ID is registered email, and it inferred that an email is supposed to be going there. So the browser will just show an email that it thinks can be put there. Yeah. Come again? Oh, back to the code. Oh, thank you. Wait. Oh, you're right. Okay, my mistake. Thank you so much. So L name. Okay, thank you. Okay, what else can we get from the user after telephone? Well, since it's registration, they're going to need to put a password, right? So let's ask the user for their password, or for them to create a new password.
Replace that for registered phone as well.
Say again? Oh, you're right. This is supposed to be phone, thank you. So let's create that. I'll change this to password. Change this to password. So this should be password. And let me see. So if I go here, I see password, but let's type in a password. So super secret password, right? So I type my super secret password into the password field, but I want you to tell me, based on your experience, what is wrong with this? Space? Okay, so I'll take out the spaces. What else is wrong with it? Okay, what else is wrong with it? So what I'm actually asking is not what is wrong with the password, but there's something wrong here that we don't like to see when we're signing up for our website. It is related to the password, but it's not the password itself. As a matter of fact, let me ask you a question. How were you able to tell me that there were spaces in the password? How were you able to tell me that the password didn't have any numbers in it or any symbols? How did you know? Because what? No, it didn't tell me. How did I know that it didn't have any spaces? Don't overthink it. Because you told me. But how did you know? Because you can see it. That's the problem. You shouldn't be able to see my password. Remember, whenever you're typing up your password for any website, whether you're registering or logging in, it doesn't show the password. It shows dots instead. So we need to change this. This is not going to work for our website because anybody... Exactly. Good. So in the code, instead of having input of type text, I need to change the type to password. Save this, and now we have dots. Yeah? Good. Get rid of that. So yeah. And I think typically you'll find that websites will ask you for your password twice, right? So that it can confirm your password. Password, confirm password. Right? There should also usually be something here that allows me to have the browser suggest a password, but I'm not sure how to do that. It's not doing it here now. So since we're able to also change the field type or the input type from text to password, you'll find that you'll want to maybe do the same thing for an email, because there is an email type as well. So let me see. Instead of having, for this first input, instead of having type text, you can change this to email. And you can also change the telephone one to tel. All right? So with the telephone one, oh wait, nothing. All right, I don't know what the difference between text and tel is, but there should be a difference. I think it may have something to do with, what's it called? The validation, if I'm not mistaken. But let me see. What was this I was going to do a while ago? I don't remember what else I was going to do. But yeah, so this is our form. And now, the last thing that we need for our form is a submit button. So let's create some space, and then I'll create an input of type submit. Yep, there's a submit button. And now have a register button. Yeah? Okay. Have you got everything that I have? Or mostly everything? You have your email, first name, last name, telephone, confirm password. Yeah? Okay, let's see. So something you'll notice at this point. When I click register, it happens very quickly, but you'll notice that my browser is reacting. My browser is reacting in that my page, the web page, is refreshing. Can you click on your button and see if your page refreshes as well? Like, you'll know it refreshes because you'll see the refresh button at the top. It will go from refresh to loading and then back to refresh. Do you notice that? Let me give you some time. When you hit the button, it should refresh your page. Tell me if you see that.
Yeah.
You refresh the page?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Davian, you see that as well? No? All right, let me see. Quick, let me see. Your button. Change the button type from submit, from button to submit. Do it. So the page refresh? Okay. So the reason the page refreshes is because of this thing that we left blank when we're creating the form, the action, right? So a form, by default, will listen out for when you click a submit button. It will perform some action, or it will try to perform some action regardless of whether you specified, right? And the way how the browser or forms would work in the past, I mean, I guess they can still work that way now, but the way that the default behavior was written was that you probably put some text here that would tell the browser where it's supposed to send the information to. And that information could be sent to like a page, like a PHP web page, or a PHP server. It's not as common for it to be handled that way now. It's still doable, but it's not the way I like to teach it. Because I don't really like to teach PHP. PHP is just another programming language that you can use for web-related applications. I like to do everything in JavaScript instead. So I'm going to be showing how we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my input button an ID. And I'm going to call it register submit. Morning. I'll call it register submit. And now I can go into my JavaScript and I can add an event listener to my button. So let's do that now. So let me create my button, var register button equal to and I'll say, what was it called? Register. Was it called register submit? Yeah. So register button dot add event listener. I'm listening for click, and I'm going to specify what function. So I'm going to call my function handle register. All right. So handle register. Let's create that function handle register now. Function handle register. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just to see if this works, I'm going to alert. Register clicked. All right. So I've added my register button, given it an event listener. Listen out for the click event, and when it is clicked, I run the function called handle register, which is defined here. The only thing this does, morning, is it alerts. So I'm going to click on my button and see if it alerts. So I clicked on my button, and it fired the alert. Do we see that? Clicked on the button, and it fired the alert. Oh God.
Sir, the couple of days I'm gone, sir.
You say days.
Huh?
You say days, I say hours. It has been hours since the last time you've been to class.
Hours?
Hours. You know how much we can get done in hours?
Hours, sir?
Yes, hours. It has been hours. So if it's 3 days you missed, that is like 6 hours. More than 6 hours. Anyway, were you able to get that to work? Oh yeah, sure thing. Lucky for you, I'm recording today's class and I recorded last class.
Wait, so what? What is it?
I'm recording today's class and I recorded last class.
Oh yeah, I put my cameras.
Yeah. Last class is already on Canvas.
Alright.
And I'll post today's class on Canvas as well.
Sir, Khadija says she won't come in your class because they wouldn't be very many teaching that.
Mm.
You know, she won't learn so.
What I mean, the problem is, her lecturer won't mark her present for her class. So it very much depends on if she's okay with that. Also, I think my class is ahead of their class. Tell me when you get this sorted. Typed out? You're all done? You're all? Got it done? You're saying that alert button doesn't come up? Hmm?
I don't see any alerts.
And you have your button. Oh. Right? Right. Alright, let me see if I can find out why. So you're not afraid you're going to get marked absent for class? Oh, okay. JavaScript. You read JavaScript in your class yet? But you've started JavaScript? You have a submit button? Where? Oh, there it is, submit. And it is of, it doesn't have an ID though. There you go. Okay. Okay. All right, so I think if you have something similar to what I have, then you may notice, let's say for instance I start typing some stuff here, right? and I click register. Let's say, for instance, I've filled out the entire form and I click register. I get the form pop up, I click OK, and then the whole form gets wiped. I didn't do anything to remove the text from the email part of the form, but after I clicked the OK on the alert, the form reset. And the reason the form reset is because the page is still, the web page is still refreshing. So when the page refreshes, no matter what you type in, when you refresh, the form gets reset. So we need to make it so that the form does not reset. In order for us to do that, it's very important for us to, at the beginning of the function that we trigger when we click our button, we need to prevent the default action from happening. And the default action is refreshing the web page. So we need to make it so that the default action does not take place. Let me see. How you do that again? Is it event? Put an event here and then you say event dot prevent default. That's all. Does this work? Let's see if this works. Prevent default. And if I go here and click OK, yeah, it doesn't refresh anymore. Okay, so I'll type something here, click register, and click OK, and it's still there. Yeah? So what we're able to do is we're able to take the event. In this place, the event is the click event. We told the event, or rather, yeah, is it that we told the event? We made it so that our JavaScript code prevents the default action from taking place. Yeah? In our case, the default action is refreshing the web page. So this is very important. If you don't want your form to be reset, at the top of your function, you'll put prevent default. Event.prevent default. And this event is this event. So try that. Tell me if it works, please. Got it working? Mm-hmm. All right. So we don't need this alert anymore. Let's remove this alert. Dominic, I think that machine is not working. Is it still loading? I think it's going freeze. So you may not want to use that machine. So you can turn it off. All right. All right. All right. Let me see now. So we have our prevent default. I got rid of the alert because we don't need that for now. What we want to do, all right, another thing that I want to mention is that given what we're doing now, typically when you have a form and you're allowed to use to enter some information in the form, you'd usually have some other application that takes that information and does some processing to it. And that processing could come in the form of saving the information in like a database or something like that, right? So you would type out this information, first name, last name, email address, and all that stuff. You'd use JavaScript to collect that information, and then you'd send that information off to some other computer that stores it. That other computer or that other application that stores it is called the database. We're not going to be covering anything database related in this class, because that's something that you would do in Web 2, not Web 1. So Web 1 only deals with the front end. That is the part of the application that you can see, the part that the user interacts with, right? The database part of it, or the other application that does that processing, that's stuff that you do in Web 2. So what I'm going to be showing is how you can not necessarily store the information, but what you would need to know in order to know how to store the information, right? Okay, so let's get that done. Any questions before I move on? I know that you guys came late, but like I said, I have class today recorded, so I'm going to post it on Canvas, and you'll be able to go back over it at your own time. All right? Okay, so just like normal, what we'll do is we will locate our input forms or our input text boxes and store them in variables. All right? So the first input form text box that we need to capture is our register email. So I'm going to say var I'm going to say email is equal to, wait, hold on, email text box, because we got the text box first, and set that to be equal to document dot get element by ID register email, and then the email itself is going to be equal to, oops, var email is going to be equal to email text box dot value. Oops, value. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Why didn't that work? Let's do a console.log of the email just to make sure it works. Wait, let me do something real quick. Let me copy this. Paste that here. Does it still auto? Yes, it does. I don't like that. Can I use Firefox? Okay, this does not autofill. Okay, good. I prefer that it doesn't autofill. Okay, where was I now? Yeah, so let's console.log the email just to make sure that it actually captures the email. So I'm going to say console.log email. So open my developer console, put this to the right. I'll go into the console. I'll zoom in so you can see. So I will click on test at email.com and I'll click register and it should paste it to the console. Yeah? As long as you're able to see the value in the console, it means then that your information has been captured and stored in a variable. Yeah? So we'll do the same thing for all of the rest of the, what's it called, the other form inputs. So let's try that. Oops. So I need to get var first name text box is equal to document get element, which is called register. Or just the F name, I think it was. So let's console.log these. Mm-hmm. And the last two are password.
That's crazy. It does leave it open. It does leave it open. Hmm? Damn, man. That's crazy, bro.
Password and name. Twitter name register password. I'll call this one confirm. A quick note in case you missed it, because I made the mistake. I gave both my password fields the same ID, so I changed one to confirm password. Okay. So let's see what else. We have our last name, email, first name, last name, telephone, password, and confirm password. So let's just make sure that we have all that stuff. Tel is going to be 1876. 1876. Password. Password. We hit register. Yeah. So as long as you're able to see the information in your console.log, it means you've captured it appropriately. Yeah. So here is what I will ask you to do now. There are a few things that you need to make sure that your form does before you're able to submit. Right? If you have a form that looks like this, what are some things that you need to make sure the user does before they are allowed to click register?
Sir, you have to make sure they fill out everything.
Make sure they fill out everything, good. What else?
You have to make sure, say, that you have to, but you know them, you go on the site and it say allow cookies or something like that.
Okay.
Cookies
Yeah, I understand. Right. I hear what you're saying, but that's not relevant to this particular part. But I understand why you say it. What else? So you said make sure that everything is filled out. What else?
Make sure the information is valid to what is being. So say every
Okay.
time say telephone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should only have 8 digits that are digits, sir.
Mm-hmm. That's correct, yeah. So making sure that the fields are valid to the context that you're asking. So if it's a telephone number, you need to make sure it's only numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
You also want to make sure for a telephone number that it is at least a certain length,
Oh, yes, sir.
at least 7 digits, right?
Yes, sir.
Or if it's a case where you want to make it more secure, at least
10.
10.
As of the area code.
Exactly, right. So you make it at least 10, because the 876,
Sir, area code. Which one have 10 digit number?
876,
Area code, brother.
876,
1876.
some.
Oh, okay.
So that would make it
So
10.
the 7 and the diamond thing where.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you'd want to make sure that your telephone number is at least 10 digits. Make sure everything is filled in. What about... Well, I'll let you tell me. There's one more thing that I want you to tell me. One other thing. What, you tell me. One other thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure, like the one we want to on the console or like the website.
The form itself, the page.
PHR.
Mhm. Okay, I'll tell you. Make sure that the person enter the same password twice.
Oh, true.
Because you have a password and a confirmed password.
If you don't enter same password,
Mhm.
like
It should tell you, yeah, it should error and say that the passwords do not match, right?
yeah.
So, given that we'd have gone through if statements already, for the most part, that is all you need in order to validate and make sure that all of these forms are valid or are correct. So I need to go through and add some JavaScript to use if statements to make sure that 1, all the fields are filled in, 2, the telephone number only has numbers in it, and 3, well, okay, no, the telephone only has numbers in it and is at least 10 characters, and also both passwords match. So I want you to try that for me. And if any errors occur, you should have a message section or an error section below the form that says, tells the user what the problem is, basically. Yeah, so I want you to try that for me. Let's see if we can get that done before the hour. Yes, I'll be checking at the end of the hour.